The Davidian Seventh-Day Adventists were known for their plain manner of dress and simple living. For 30 years, the community flourished and grew, but in 1955, Houteff dies suddenly of heart failure. After Houteff's death, his wife Florence Houteff issues a letter to the governing body of the Davidian Seventh-Day Adventists, the Executive Council. In the letter, Florence urges three demands. Florence wants to be appointed vice president and effectively ousts current vice president E.T. Wilson. She also demands that her brother is appointed as executive secretary in her stead, and that the council forever be responsible for supporting her as Houteff's widow. By the end of the day, Florence's demands are approved by the council, and a new era begins for the Davidian. Under Florence Houteff's leadership, the Davidians begin to change their communication campaign tactics to the Adventist Church. A more aggressive style is adopted, and protests are staged by attaching signs on cars at Adventist conferences as well as advertising on city buses. Then Florence makes a fateful decision. She pens a letter to the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference predicting the start of a prophetic time period, a 42-month period found in Revelation 11. Florence predicted that the end of this time period would occur in April 1959, after which the judgment of Ezekiel 9 would immediately take place.
It was in 1954. My class was over. My work was done on the new printing shop that we were building. And so I left in 54, and then I learned, to my surprise and to other Davidians, that in 1955, Brother Houteff died. But there's something that needs to be understood, that in 1954, while he was alive, he made the comment that was broadcast to everybody at Mount Carmel that there is a latter-day application to the 42 months in Revelation chapter 11. When you read the chapter, you can see that there is some things that takes place before and after that does show a latter-day application. And so it was after he died that the vice president was Brother Wilson. He was supposed to take over and lead the association in its work. But Sister Houteff claimed that Brother Houteff said she would to be vice president in the event of his death, and no one really could contest her on it. So she continued in that position.
So Florence was, this was a shock to everybody in the community in 55 when he died. He was supposed to live to announce this new era, this new age. And so his wife took over, and she took some pretty dramatic steps in order to win the following. One was to announce that this event, whatever it was that was going to happen, would occur in 3.5 years. So the number 7 recurs in the Bible over and over again, and multiples of it or portions of it and so forth. So spring or Easter of 1959 is when this was supposed to happen. So they had, according to the local newspapers, they estimate from 600 to 900 people who came and lived in tents and so forth for a month, anticipating some big event, which of course never transpired. But anyway, she predicted that would happen, and when that failed in 59, then she was discredited. So in the end of 62, by 62, they disbanded the Davidian group altogether from a legal point of view. And then, of course, the branch Davidians would pick up where they left off.
She began to teach a 42-month period starting in November and ending in April of 1959, but nothing happened that she had predicted. She thought the slaughter was coming in that particular year and was preaching it. The slaughter of Ezekiel 9 spoken of in Sister White's writings. And so as a result, she began to dissolve Mount Carmel.
The other thing she did was to say, well, we have this property in the edge of Waco, because Waco was expanding, and that was good commercial property for residences. And so they began to sell much of their 900 plus acres, and it's very lucrative. And so they said, well, let's take this and buy another property. And so that's when they went out toward Elk, which is outside the city, a good bit further away. So there are really two Mount Carmel properties. So this was another important change that occurred under her supervision. She was regarded by folks quite differently. She was much, much younger than Victor Houteff. And so these folks, he had instituted a thing called the second tithe, and so you tithe or give a tenth of your money and then a second tenth as well, and that was to be used for retirement and that sort of thing. So that gets all bound up in legal issues when they folded and so forth, who gets that money and so forth. Anyway, the people who talk about her at this point in time, a lot of them are very critical because she took $20,000, which was quite a lot at that time, went to California and remarried and so forth. So it's, you know, whereas her husband tended to sacrifice for the group, most people thought that she was using it for her own advantage.